What's going on, guys? So this is probably going to be the best and most cheapest mod you can do for the C63 or any M177 engine. As you can see, I have the E300 right there. Obviously that's not a M177 car, that's a 4-cylinder, but this is going to be the cheapest mod, and it makes the car sound just that much better because it just enhances the turbos in a way that like you will not get from stock, which is like the sound that you want. It sounds crazy. So when I calculated how much this mod costed, it costed maybe what, like $4.50. And it's amazing what you can get from this mod because, for example, brands, for example, like Wise Tech, sell an attachment for this that costs $170. And now what I wanted to find out was I wanted to see if I could do this mod and not get the rings and see if my car would maybe throw a check engine light. Even though it is just a little part, I wanted to see if the car would throw a check engine light and send the car into limp mode, which it didn't once I did the mod, which is amazing. That's why it was able to save me a lot of money to give me these same results, because honestly this is not a performance mod by any means. To be honest, like, it made the car feel faster. Like, don't get me wrong, I plan to get intakes 100% like very soon, because that'll actually be a performance mod and it'll look sick. Obviously, like, it'll take away the Mercedes AMG like intake boxes right there, but I mean, it'll add performance, it'll add sound, it'll add a lot of things to the engine, which will obviously be nothing but beneficial to it. Oh look, the dog is right here. That's so cute. Look at him walking, looking up at the car and everything. How cute he is. He's looking at the car. Those loud ass motorcycles in the back, he's interested. He wants to work on it. But no, all I did was I removed a part, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that right now. And it's very easy. Everybody can do it. It only takes maybe one part. So let me show you guys how to do that right now. So the one thing that you are going to need, which costs the $4.50-ish, is going to be these little chair caps right here. You guys can get the same size, 7 1/8 inch, or you guys can get 1 inch. And what these are typically used for is these are used to put on the bottom of a chair, so obviously the chair doesn't skid, maybe scratch the floor, But what these are used to do is these are used to cover my air boxes right here, as you guys can see, because if I don't cover this air box right here, the whole like water, debris, everything is going to get sucked into my intake. Because let me show you how it works. I removed one of my hoses already. This is the hose right here that I removed, right? So what it does is this transfers the air from the turbo right here. As you can see, you can see the wiring and the hoses down there. You can see it. If it's a very tight fit, but you can see it. It transfers air from there, and what it does is it transfers the air into the intake right here, and then it releases it that way instead of just blowing it into the air. Now when it blows it into the air, that's what creates the sound. That's like the whooshing sound. Of course, I'm going to include audio clips, all of that kind of stuff at the end, but that creates the whooshing sound. And what Mercedes wanted to do is they wanted to make it quieter. Obviously it's still a luxury car, so they don't want it to be like a sound like a modified car from factory, obviously. So that's why they didn't do like that sound. So they did it just so it'd be quiet. It doesn't affect performance in any way, even though it feels faster, surprisingly. But the way it works, and the reason you don't have to plug this hole, is because air is pushing out this way. This blows out air, this sucks air. So you aren't gonna have to worry about plugging this hole right here, because the hole is pushing out air, so it's just gonna push everything out on its own. But this is gonna suck everything in. That's why, like I said, you have to get these chair caps right here, so you can put it over that, so then nothing goes in there, so like you don't ruin the car, because you're gonna ruin the car if you don't put that. But look, I took off one hose already. As you can see, this hose right here, this hose surprisingly is actually about $400, $400 or $500 for both of them, which is very expensive. So if you guys take off the hose, make sure you keep the hose, because it's obviously a valuable part, and then if you guys are on warranty, you guys will have to put these hoses back on just before you go in for your repairs, whatever went wrong with the car. So, or else they will void it. They won't let you do the repairs because they will come up with an excuse. But just so you guys know, you guys will have to put the hoses back on, but it'll kind of be a reversal of the process. So all you will have to do is grab your pliers right here. You will have to grab some sort of pliers like this. I know mine are a little rusty. They look kind of like bad condition, because I mean they are, but I mean they do the job. So all you're gonna have to do is, I already took off one side right here, but all you're gonna have to do is take the pliers, right, set them on each side of this, right, and push down. So let me show you guys. So look, as you guys can see, I have my pliers on the clamps, and what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to pop these clamps and move them down the hose, because this is what keeps the hoses attached to the airbox. So I'm gonna squeeze. It's gonna be a little hard, but you'll see the clamps start moving towards each other, and I'm gonna need 2 hands because they are metal clamps. They look like cheap, but like for sure, you know, you're gonna need 2 hands for this to take it off. It's gonna be a little challenge, but you're gonna be able to do it. But all you're gonna have to do is slide the clamps down. You know, as you can see, you have to put the pliers like this just to squeeze it, but then you'll be able to pop them off of here and then move them down to here. So once you do that, once you remove the hose like I did off of this one, like I'm gonna do on this one too, it'll leave this hole open. So then that is what's gonna create the sound of the whooshing and everything, which is gonna be that loud sound that everyone likes and everything. It's not gonna be the stew sound though, because you're gonna need intakes for that, and that's what I plan on doing for sure. I plan on doing intakes, so then it creates the stew sound, you know, kind of like how you hear in the skylines, you know, all of that kind of stuff, because you know it's just going to be louder that way, and it's obviously going to be performance like I said. But I definitely do plan on getting intakes, but that's what's going to create the stew sound. It's going to sound amazing, beautiful. You know, I definitely recommend anybody, you know, if you own one of these engines, you should do that mod to your car, because it's going to sound beautiful. If you own any M177, you can do it to the 4 cylinders right there too, you know, but obviously, you know, it's going to sound the best on this model specifically. But yes guys, I am sorry for not uploading more. You know, I definitely plan on uploading more. It's been 2 months. It's just that before I was recording on an iPhone 12, which is very, you know, primitive. I did get the 17 Pro though, so for sure more reels, more, you know, YouTube videos to come, you know, because obviously I have the better quality and everything now. But I apologize for not uploading. You know, I will upload more and everything. And yeah, you know, I want to do more. You know, I want to do more mods. You know, for sure I want to record like the intake process. I want to record that if I do an exhausts are very expensive though. The exhaust, to be honest, is going to be about, it depends if I want a valved one or kind of more of a straight pipe one. Like there's like a, I forgot the brand, but it's like a straight pipe one where it obviously still has the cats and everything, because to remove the cats on this car, if you didn't know, without cutting, you are going to have to remove the transmission, and that is a very, you know, kind of tedious job. You know, I don't have all the equipment myself to do all of that. You know, I can do the exhaust and everything, but I can't do all of that unless I want to cut them. But if I cut them, then that voids warranty. On top of that, if you guys didn't know, if you do a cat delete, it is going to void warranty, because then you are going to have to retune the car just so it doesn't, you know, keep the car in limp mode, because it will throw the car into limp mode if you do not tune the car. So you will have to tune the car, and that will void warranty. So I do not plan on doing that, just because I am on warranty, and you know, parts for this car are very expensive. So, but for sure an exhaust I want to do in the future, you know, just very expensive. But intakes for sure coming way more soon than that. But the car's already loud. Like I'm gonna insert audio clips, and I hope you guys enjoy these audio clips, because this car is very loud for stock.